In the scorching and arid desert, the young black stallion had been without water for days and nights. That day, he was fortunate to encounter a little girl. The girl saw the dire state of the young black stallion and scooped water from between the rocks with her hands to bring it to him. The stallion, seeing no ill intent from her, approached and began to drink heartily. Thus, the two lonely souls in the desert became each other's support. But why were they both stranded in the desert? The story actually begins a few days earlier. The young black stallion lived carefree in the desert with his mother, a large white horse. One day, 3 horsemen discovered them and attempted to capture them. The mother, in an effort to allow her foal to escape, deliberately slowed down. Soon the large white horse was captured and the young black stallion quickly hid in a cave. The narrow entrance prevented the horsemen from following, so they had to leave. When the young stallion emerged from the cave, he could only see his mother being taken away. Without his mother's protection in the vast dry desert, he was now on his own. Not long after, a caravan of camels led by a father and his daughter crossed the desert. They were pleased with their substantial goods, dreaming of the profit they would make, when a group of bandits spotted them and quickly approached. The girl's fate would be grim if captured by the bandits. Her father urged her to flee, and despite her reluctance, she was forced to leave. The entire caravan soon found itself surrounded by bandits. The girl riding a camel ran without looking back, not knowing how long she fled, until her exhausted camel stumbled and fell, rolling her down a sand dune and knocking her unconscious. When she awoke, she was half buried in sand. Struggling to the top of a sand dune, the girl saw endless sands ahead. Her father's caravan was gone, and so was her camel. With no choice but to walk, she encountered animal carcasses along the way, a grim reminder of the harsh environment. Eventually, she reached a mountain and, driven by thirst, thought she heard water at the summit. Climbing swiftly to the top, she found a small waterhole and eagerly drank. While drinking, she heard the breathing of a horse and looked up to see a young black stallion. Curious, she watched the stallion whose mother had been captured, and as it saw the girl, it ran away in alarm. The girl quickly followed. The stallion would stop to observe her and then run off again whenever she attempted to get close. She chased after him until nightfall but never caught up. That night she slept under a rock while the young black stallion watched from a distance from within a cave. The next morning she was awakened by the calls of the young black stallion and approached him again. This time he did not run away quickly but instead trotted off to the side. Sensing that he was leading her, she followed. After a period of running, the young black stallion stopped in a valley, having found water below but unable to reach it. The girl moved some rocks aside, drank a few sips, and then scooped water with her hands for the stallion. Once they had both quenched their thirst, they became the only friends for each other in the desert. The girl and the young black stallion quickly became friends in the desert. They roamed the desert by day, and at night, the girl slept beside a fire while the stallion stood guard. One day, as they moved forward, the girl spotted a large river ahead and excitedly ran towards it, only to find it had dried up completely. Disappointed, the girl knelt down. Though the river was dry, following its course could lead her home. After some time, she finally saw her home, but was shocked to find the walls collapsed and the water wells dry and cracked. Suddenly, a truck arrived, startling the young black stallion with its loud noise. The stallion became agitated and ran away, ignoring the girl's calls. She stood there, unable to hide her sadness. Upon returning home, only a young servant and her grandfather remained. The rest of her family and all the horses had been taken by bandits. Her grandfather had managed to release an old horse during the raid, which returned after the bandits left, leaving only this horse at home. At night, the girl heard the stallion's call but saw nothing when she looked out the window. She felt the stallion must be nearby, watching over her. The next day, as they went to town for shopping, their cartwheel broke. A wealthy man returning from a race passed by and mocked them. Noting that the girl's family, once prominent and regular winners in the town's races, now only had an old horse left, he taunted whether they planned to compete with the old horse next year. The grandfather didn't respond, and after the wealthy man left, the girl suggested to her grandfather that they could compete with the young black stallion, boasting its speed in the desert. However, the grandfather was skeptical, citing legends of a mystical horse born from the desert sand, swift as the wind but untamed and rarely seen. A year passed, and one night the girl was awakened by the sound of a horse. She went to the window and saw the young black stallion running wild. She rode out to meet him by dawn on a grassland, where they joyfully played together. By then, the young black stallion had grown. The girl climbed onto its back and found it surprisingly cooperative. They raced across the fields, and by evening, she returned home on the stallion. The grandfather and the young servant were shocked to see the stallion, knowing such spirited horses were usually untamable for races. However, the girl didn't give up and spent her free time training the stallion. Soon, the horse responded to her commands, achieving a perfect harmony between rider and steed. On the day of the race, the event was bustling with excitement. The girl, her head covered by a scarf, arrived to compete, having to stake their only old horse as collateral for participation. Facing the skepticism of the seasoned competitors who dismissed the newcomer, a white stallion caught the grandfather's attention. It turned out to be the young black stallion's mother, unmanageable and thus used as collateral. Recognizing her foal, she called out, causing the young black stallion to become restless and hesitant to start, even as other competitors dashed off. Fortunately, the girl quickly calmed him down. This delay put the girl significantly behind the others. However, with the young black stallion, she made a swift comeback, easily navigating obstacles that stymied other horses or threw their riders, thanks to his upbringing in the wild. Together, they raced over sand dunes, crossed rivers, and passed through canyons. The young black stallion swiftly overtook competitor after competitor, reaching third place on an uphill stretch. The girl attempted to overtake the leading two competitors, who blocked every move, refusing to give the young black stallion any chance. In a bold move, the girl removed her scarf and they charged through the gates as one, with the finish line just ahead. In the race's final moments, they surpassed all competitors to win first place, to the cheers of the crowd. The girl approached her grandfather, proclaiming their victory and honor for their family. The wealthy man apologized for his earlier behavior, and through their efforts, the young black stallion won back his mother. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this.